All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second installment of the sequel, which is the sequel to my most popular and most viewed video on this channel, where I go and I rank all the manga that I read this year. So I am going to get right into this as soon as possible, but I do want to say really quickly to show my appreciation, if you are returning from that video where I ranked all the manga that I read at the time, which would have been during 2021, I just want to say thank you so much for all the support, all the comments, all the recommendations, all the criticism. Thank you so much if you are returning from that video. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out for things that I may have read before. And let's just go over the tiers real quick. We have the favorites, um, my favorite mangas I read this year, the amazing tier, the very enjoyable, worth reading, and of course the not too positive. I've taken out the dropped tier list this year. I'm just going over the manga that I fully completed, and here they all are. Not nearly as prolific as a year as the one prior. That one had 50 series. This only just has about like 20 or so. But, anyways, let's just get into it. Yeah. So first off is Bleach. Bleach, yes. Now at this point, I've consumed a good amount of all the big three, and I like all the big three. I will have to say, I think Bleach is just worth reading. I'm sorry. I know that there are a lot of dedicated Bleach fans out there, and here's the thing: I think Bleach is good. I do like all of the big three in certain respects, and here's what I'll say: what Bleach has over the other two series of the big three. I really love Kubo's artistic evolution throughout the series. I love his character designs, probably more than anything in the big three, anyone else from the big three, as well as the backgrounds. I think with Kubo's unique style, I really like his backgrounds in the manga. And so those are two pretty big things that I would have Bleach over One Piece and Naruto. But I will say, as far as the peaks go, in my opinion, they did not really peak that high. But with that said, I can still give Bleach its props, well deserved, within its spot in the big three. And I can still give it some aspects, some pretty important aspects of its art, at the golden trophy in that sense. So yes, while not my favorite of the big three, still glad I read it. And by this point, the Thousand Year Blood War arc has already started airing, and I am really enjoying that. So next is A Silent Voice, the manga. So I haven't revealed this before, but I am a fan of the movie. I'm really debating where I should play this right now. Ah, man, I don't know. I'm gonna put this right here for now. Probably. I think that I probably still prefer the movie in terms of A Silent Voice. I know that the movie is simply an adaptation of the manga series. The manga has more development and more exploration of some of the other characters of the cast in the manga. For me, A Silent Voice kind of serves as a nice accompanying piece to watching the movie. I love the movie, its direction. Apologies for not remembering the director's name, but she directs the movie so well. The music and the way that scenes are crafted in the movie, I just prefer the movie a little bit overall. And I found the manga just a nice accompanying piece, as I said, because it explores some of the other characters. And if you're a fan of the movie A Silent Voice and you would like to see more of the characters, definitely give the manga a shot. It is not a waste of time to check out this manga. I think more people might prefer the manga, but yeah, go ahead and check this manga out if you're a fan of the movie. I really don't see why not. You know what I mean? If you're a fan of this, so yeah, worth reading. Worth reading. I probably still say I enjoy the movie more. Next is Solonin. So I got a lot of comments in my last video recommending Oyasumi Pun Pun, and I've considered Pun Pun for a long time, pretty much ever since I got back into manga. But I decided to start Solonin first, which is by the same author. Asano's his last name. And if you were interested in my opinions on Pun Pun, maybe I'm not the person you want to hear it from, because Solonin was just not my type of series. I think that its themes resonated, things such as regret and kind of finding your purpose in life, you know what I mean, and being young. I'm finishing my last year of college right now, so I too have similar questions to what the protagonist went through in the story about what they want to do with their life, right? And while that did resonate and all, I just didn't really come away from it just thinking like, oh, that was a good time. I felt I can't really, I read it towards the beginning of the year, and I can't say I remember much of it. And here's why that I'm putting this in the not too positive tier. It's because if you look at the manga that I read and I'm interested in, a lot of it is just for entertainment. It's for escapism, right? And while Solonin does apply to themes and you know thoughts that I might be going through right now, it's just not what I look for in a manga. You know what I mean? I don't see manga as a challenge or as existentialism, right? It's just not my thing. And just because I'm putting this in the not too positive tier doesn't mean that I don't think that um, it wouldn't be good for other people. You know what I mean? Because Soul is very well received. You know what I mean? And I understand that. But once again, just not my thing. Yeah, that's gonna rub a lot of people the wrong way. And so once again, if you were interested in me reading Pun Pun, then maybe I'm not the person you want to hear from, because who knows if I'll like it or not. I'm open to reading it, but that's for another time. Let's just move on to Battle Royale. I've considered watching the movie for Battle Royale. There's a movie adaptation that is pretty popular. As for the manga, it was not good. Just to be honest, it wasn't like I was against the violence. There's some pretty wild scenes and violent things that happen in that movie. I wouldn't say that is what put me off. I just don't think the quality was good. I don't think the writing was that good. The dialogue, you know, couldn't really get behind any of the characters. There were points where I'm like, oh, this is the part where I'm supposed to be, behind this character, but I didn't really feel it. I felt very detached. Or like, oh, I'm supposed to be rooting against this character. I'm like, well, I those feelings didn't really land. Once again, I felt very detached from a lot of the characters, as a result, a lot of the story. So I found myself just kind of trudging through this manga. Still pretty interested to watch the live action movie, but as for the manga, yeah, not really a good read in my opinion. There are other, survival like manga such as Alice in Borderlands that, even though Alice in Borderlands may have been influenced by Battle Royale, I would still prefer series like Alice in Borderlands. So moving on is Golden Kamuy. So this is pretty early in the tier list, but I'm just going to tell you this right now. Golden Kamuy was my favorite manga I read in the year of 2022. I don't want to spend too much time talking about it, but what do I like about Golden Kamuy? It has everything. It arguably has everything. It has so many genres. It's a great action seinen. It's actually very, very funny in its characters and its humor. It's very bizarre. It's hilarious. It can also dub as a food manga, as it often has numerous chapters dedicated to dishes that Ainu people created a long time ago, and hunting and such like that. A food manga. It's a great historical manga. It has such an awesome cast of characters. Historical drama. It just blends all these different genres and content so well, and it's just so consistent throughout its entire series. I was prior a fan of the anime. I watched the anime first, and then upon discovering that the manga was ending in 2022, I read the manga, and I enjoyed it from start to finish. If there's any recommendation that I'm going to get across that I feel like is more likely to, that anyone in this video could like, what's more likely, Golden Kamuy is that series. Yeah, I could see Soul in it not being for everyone, right? But Golden Kamuy, I think is as close as you can get. Once again, not for everybody, but yeah. Can't really say enough good things about Golden Kamuy. I'm looking forward to the rest of the anime eventually getting adapted. So I also started Baki this year, or for this video, I started Baki. Grapple Baki is pretty good. I think I liked it. I like it. For those who recognize, this is the first series. This is the first Baki series, and if you've heard of Baki, its reputation has preceded itself, then you're probably aware of all the wacky, absurd, and bizarre things that occur in the manga. But those occur later on throughout the series. This is the first series, right? And so it doesn't really have that wackiness. It has some absurd things towards the end, but once again, if you know Baki for the reputation that it has, it's not always present in this series. So that's just a heads up before you go into it. With that said, I really enjoyed Itagaki's artistic evolution throughout the series. He did get better and better at art, and it does get a little bit wild, and I think it's just a fun series, very accessible and very easy to read. I did just finish, like literally today, I finished a new Grappler Baki, but my thoughts on that will be next year. Until then, Baki, good, worth reading. Next is 40 the Apocalypse. 40 the Apocalypse was really good. 40 the Apocalypse is pretty much another zombie series, zombie apocalypse. And I could argue that nothing really much separates it from other zombie series, right? I think that it does have one big thing that really resonated with me, in that it had fantastic art design. The designs for the zombies is phenomenal. Like, just when you were surprised or just scared by like one design of a zombie, then the next, kind of the next higher up zombie would surprise me. And this manga always kept me guessing with this artwork. Like, just when I thought that one zombie design couldn't creep me out, boom, it gives me another one that's even creepier. And just the way that it slowly progresses and gets crazier and crazier was honestly really investing. This was consistently enjoyable. If you're a fan of zombie media and manga and haven't checked out 40 the Apocalypse yet, I think that there's some good things in here for the zombie apocalypse fan. Really good, one of my favorites of this year. I also started Kaguya-sama, like Golden Kamuy. This was a manga that ended this year, and yeah, I had a really good time with Kaguya-sama. I think I was just kind of at the point in my life where I was just like, hey, you know, let's read a romance manga. I don't seek out romance media that often. It's got to be, it has to really invest me, and I think in this case, Kaguya-sama was one of those series that just really landed on the marks. A nice take on battle shonen, super consistent. Chances are you already know about Kaguya-sama and how well it's received, and I will say that I do agree it is a very enjoyable series. Love the cast of characters, great writing, a lot of fun stuff, very investing plot lines and such. Like the characters. Yeah, I just really have good things and only good things to say about Kaguya-sama. So yeah, that's good romance recommendation if you haven't already. Next is Inuyashiki. This is from the same author as Gantz, which I haven't read yet, but I decided to read Inuyashiki first. Inuyashiki was good. It was worth reading. I think I don't really have much to say about it. I think that its artwork was really good. I think that I just realized that I'm missing something here. Oh, I'm missing Jigan. I finished Jigan this year. I'm sorry, I just got off track for a second. Anyways, Inuyashiki. Inuyashiki was good. I think it's got some interesting themes of finding a purpose in life and such. But really not much else to say. Good action, good artwork, but didn't really reach that much peaks for me. Next up is Beck. Beck is, for those who don't know, is a story about an up and coming band, about a band who wants to try to break out of the underground and achieve their mainstream commercial success. They want to make it in rock music, and Beck is their journey, at least for the beginning. And I thought this was a pretty cool series. The artwork is really nice, despite being a manga series about music, that has music. The way that the scenes are crafted in this manga to make the shows and the concerts just feel alive, despite not having actual music present. Is definitely something that's hard to pull off. That you probably wouldn't need to know about, making manga to understand that that's pretty hard to pull off. And I think that Beck does it pretty well. If you're, an aspiring artist, if you're in a band, or if you really love music and haven't checked out Beck yet, I think that Beck is a good series to read. Check it out. So towards the end of last year, as well as the beginning, was Akira. I recently got the full physical. I got the box set. That's it. I got the box set of Akira for Christmas. Very thankful for that gift. And I got to read the Akira manga. And yes, if you've watched the movie and have not read the manga, yes, read the manga. You know what I mean? I think the Akira movie is great. But in case you didn't know, that only adapts the first and the last volume of the series. The movie was made before, or at the very least during and after the manga was serializing at the same time, right? And so if you want more to the story, read the manga. I mean, it has really good artwork, characters that just have one-off moments or cameos or scenes or maybe a piece of dialogue in the movie. They get fully fleshed out, narratives, development, plot lines, and a heck of a lot more influence on the story. If one of your criticisms about Akira is that you couldn't really get attached or invested in the characters in the movie, well, the manga can solve a lot of those problems for a good amount of those characters. Like me, my criticism for Akira is that maybe I wasn't the most invested in the characters. My perception of that has changed after reading the manga, so it's a nice tie-in piece to kind of read and watch the movie. I probably wouldn't recommend just doing one. Do both if you haven't already. And if you've watched the movie for Akira and haven't read the manga, I definitely recommend the manga for Akira. It is pretty much, the same thrills and mystery that the movie may have provided, but once again, longer over the course of, I believe it's 8 volumes. So yeah, go ahead, check out Akira. Next is Boys Run the Riot. So Boys Run the Riot is a movie about a trans boy, trying to start a fashion brand, clothing brand, right? And so I'm a cis, straight male. So I can't relate obviously to a lot of the feelings that the characters, our main character goes through here about coming to terms with his identity, being able to express that openly, right? But from what I understand after reading about reviews and reception online, this story, Boys from the Right, is a accurate and genuine take on that. After all, I'm pretty sure that the mangaka is trans as well. So haven't really read much LGBTQ media, but I think it does come off as very genuine and very wholesome at times. And yeah, so once again, if you're interested in those types of series, check out Boys Run the Riot. Next is Shotgun Boy. Shotgun Boy. For those who know, if you've seen my last video, you know that I'm a huge fan of Bastard and Sweet Home, those manhwa series. And Shotgun Boy is we'll put this here. Shotgun Boy is a prequel to Sweet Home. So Sweet Home is one of my favorite manhwa of all time. And so I was very excited after finding out that Shotgun Boy had finished serializing and it was completed, and now I can finally read this manhwa myself. And yeah, it's so good. It's pretty much what you would expect. If you read Sweet Home, it is a lot of the same. But if you are looking for that, then yes, check out Shotgun Boy. I think that maybe if you are tired of kind of the kind of like emo, dark, I want to, die myself protagonist, and you want that to change, Shotgun Boy is the same. He's kind of the same protagonist as Bastard Sweet Home. While he is different in his own right, yeah, I could understand if you don't really think that he's that different. But with that said, it's just, if you're a fan of Sweet Home and you love that, zombie apocalypse manhwa with some awesome cliffhangers and great artwork, Shotgun Boy provides the same. Really, really good. So happy that I finally got to read this and enjoyed it all the way through. Next is Tomie. Tomie I dropped. I don't think that Tomie is Junji Ito's better works. I think that I find him stronger when he's working with, one chapter series or one chapter stories, with the exception of Uzumaki. I just found myself so bored with Tomie. Like, I read this in the beginning of the year. I just remember not really feeling invested in finishing it. And so, obviously I don't remember anything about it now, but nothing about it really wanted me to finish reading it. I read numerous, I'm not a Junji Ito expert, but I've read a handful of Junji Ito's, collections and stories, including Smashed right here, which, I'm just gonna tell you right here, I found better than Tomie. I just found that Junji Ito's, I don't know. I just found like his investing storylines weren't really utilized in Tomie, I feel like. And no, I didn't finish it. Or did I finish it? I can't remember at this point. Tomie not too positive. That's an unpopular opinion. I know there's a lot of great big Junji Ito fans out there who will disagree with me. I still like Junji Ito. I still like Smashed. Smash was pretty good. Really enjoyed that. I'd probably actually put that above Inuyashiki. And yeah, so I'm sorry. I'm not a Junji Ito expert. So yeah, Tomie wasn't really to investing. Next is Hajime no Ippo. I finally started a popular long-running manga. As you guys know, or may not know, I am a fan of combat sports, mainly UFC and MMA, but I do enjoy some boxing, and I did at the beginning of this year start Hajime no Ippo. Hajime no Ippo is really good. If you haven't watched the anime yet or started reading the manga because it's such a long series, I will say either of them work. Started. This is definitely among my favorite sports series. It is just so consistent, pretty much the entire anime is really good, and I'm a fan of the entire anime, and as well as hundreds and hundreds of the chapters in the manga. I nearly caught up to Hajime no Ippo. No, I'm not technically caught up. I haven't completed it, but I am just maybe like a few hundred chapters behind, and after a certain huge decision is made later on the manga. If you've caught up to Hajime no Ippo, you know about the decision. But I think over 1,000 chapters read is enough to have an opinion about Hajime no Ippo, and it's really good. It's really enjoyable. Like I said, super consistent from chapter 1, episode 1, all the way to like in the 700s, then 800s, right? And the fatigue did set into me. I would have to say the recent 300 or so chapters, 300, 400 chapters, I would probably put it right here in the worth reading tier. Not nearly as good, but like I said, to go 700 chapters right into the series and still have its best fights within, by the 800th chapter, definitely not something that just any series can accomplish. I don't think many series should be able to go for as long as, say, Hajime no Ippo has been, so I can't really fault it too much. But man, those first 800 chapters were really something, really really good, really really good. Next is Bakuman. If you're here, chances are you like manga, and if you're interested in the manga making process, from other mangaka that has both made it and not made it in the industry, check out Bakuman. Bakuman was good. Bakuman was good. I don't know where I'd put it. Maybe like somewhere right here, somewhere before, higher or lower than Beck, I feel like. Yeah, so as you know, this is from the same duo that created series such as Death Note, and so these manga know what it's like to be in the manga industry, have been through their own struggles, and once again, yeah, if you like manga or are interested in at least some exploration of what it really means to write a manga and what it takes, yeah, check out Bakuman. Bakuman was good. Next is Levius. Levius was worth reading. Levius is a steampunk manga that kind of depicts, at least this series is only about like 3 or 4 volumes, right? And so this manga kind of depicts a time, like I said, in the steampunk genre. MMA, there are fights in this manga, MMA fights, in which the fighters are, in which their body parts are supported by kind of technological enhancements and such that kind of make up for their shortcomings, right? And so yeah, it's really good. Once again, as an MMA fan, this was kind of something that interests me. I haven't read Levius EST yet, which is the sequel series to this, but I thought that Levius was worth reading, really good. And last but not least, Anara Samanara. This is a manhwa series about magic, about being a magician, what it means to be a magician, magic, as well as just growing older, growing out of childhood and maturing in life. Yeah, not too positive. Once again, I think that I understood its themes, once again, of like growing up and, when you're a child, you see the world through a different lens than you do as an adult. And once you turn to adult and you're given responsibilities and you're given, hard doses of reality, that magic just goes away. You know what I mean? That theme is something that I understand, but I just didn't really care a lot in Anara Samanara about a lot of the characters, a lot of the writing. At some points, I kind of knew like, oh, this is supposed to be a really potent scene right here where the themes are supposed to shine through, but it just didn't really connect with me. I think that there's just other good manhwa out there, and yeah, that is that. Once again, not as prolific as a year, but here are the series that I really liked, and here are all of them ranked. Check out Golden Kamuy, Kaguya-sama, 40 the Apocalypse, Shotgun Boy, Akira, Hajime no Ippo. And I hope that this year I'll be a little bit more prolific in my manga reading, as well as maybe other manga videos. But yes, once again, thank you all for the support on my videos. No matter what I post out, I just release whatever I feel like it. And if you're here, despite all that, once again, thank you so much for all your support. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next video.